Welcome to my channel, Lux Lux Lucem. I am Franck. All these parts are a Victorinox Swiss champ after disassembly. Today is the start of the new school year at the Swiss Army Knife Academy. This is the first class, which will be themed around anatomy. And I'm going to use my Legami penguin as a pointer. These are Italian pens that my daughter introduced me to, and I must admit, I find them super cute. The Swiss champ is the largest classic Swiss Army knife from Victorinox. The Swiss champ is the Swiss Army knife I take on vacation, for work, and whenever I'm not sure what tool I might need. A Swiss champ has a huge number of parts, 8 layers of tool in a sandwich fashion, and when everything is assembled, you have a compact knife packed with features. There's a special feature in the assembly of this knife. Each layer of tools is separated by an aluminum spacer, except for 2 layers that don't have a spacer. There is no separation between the disgorger and the wood saw. So, let's start with the scales. The scales are attached to the rosettes. We'll come back to this at the end. The scales are designed to accommodate small tools. The back scale will hold the pressurized ballpoint pen, the toothpick, and the pin. The front scale only holds the tweezers. If we turn our scales over, we see how each element fits into the recesses. The assembly is done with wires and rosettes. The wires are pinned, a riveting technique, to hold the rosettes in place. So 2.5 mm wire is used at each end and 2.2 mm for the 2 central pins. There's one peculiarity. One of the pins is simply pinned onto the spacer without a rosette. The rosettes are used to attach the handle scales. A Swiss Army knife is a slip joint type folding knife. A spring blade pair is riveted between plates, and it is the spring tension that keeps the blade open or closed. The first layer is composed of the large blade, the small blade, and the corkscrew. You can see that everything revolves around the spring. The corkscrew can accommodate a precision flathead screwdriver. You'll notice that an additional piece is a spacer at the small blade level, which provides enough space so that the 2 blades don't touch when closing them. We add the spacer and move onto the second layer of tools. This is the one that contains the metal saw blade and the wood chisel. And we add a spacer on top. The third layer of tools has a special feature. It consists of the wood saw, a spring, and a flathead screwdriver. It isn't separated from the next layer of tools by a spacer. That is its special feature. We can now move on to the next layer, the hook, disgorger, and ruler. Here a single tool with its spring. This fourth layer will be covered with a spacer. Now the fifth layer. This is where the scissors and the multi-purpose hook are located. Scissors equipped with a wooden spring and that famous hook with so many possible uses. And we add a spacer. And here comes the sixth layer. This is the one with the pliers. Here's a special feature. It is the thickest spring on the knife. The thickness of the springs is always adapted to the thickness of the tools. On top of that, we'll add a spacer and we arrive at the 7th layer of tools. Here we find the magnifying glass, the Phillips screwdriver, and the spring. And we add another spacer. Finally, we arrive at the 8th layer. There's an hole, a can opener flathead screwdriver combo, a bottle opener, wire stripper, and large flathead screwdriver combo. Here, the spring is special. It is longer and it will hold the split ring. We add our last spacer or our last plate, and we can finish the knife. We'll place a grooved rosette on 3 of the wires, cut the wire to the correct length, and hammer it to form a head, a rivet that will hold everything together. It's on these grooved rosettes that we will attach the sides that fit over them. The groove of the rosette matches the plate, and that's how it looks. I'm taking advantage of having a knife in spare parts to address a problem we all end up experiencing after using our Swiss Army knife for a while. You have noticed that the knife ends up being harder to open or close, and that we also have the sensation that we are losing the snap of the spring. The problem is not the spring, it is the aluminum of the spacers and plates. Aluminum oxidizes naturally and forms a protective layer of aluminum oxide. But under certain circumstances, oxidation can spread in the form of pitting or cracks. This occurs with salty air or seawater, particularly in areas where salt can stagnate around the axis. As you can see here, this is exactly where cracks forms. I hope you enjoyed that video and that I was able to provide you some useful information. If you still have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Have you ever taken apart a Swiss Army knife? Have you ever put one back together? That will be the subject of a future video, customizing a Swiss Army knife. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please subscribe. Please like, share, comment. It really helps out the channel to grow. Thanks for watching. I am still Frank and you are still watching Lux Lux Lucem. Take care and see you soon.